Welcome back. My name is Slippy J, and this is my Forever World series. In today's episode, I am going to be making a bunch of different farms, like a fern farm and a grass farm in this greenhouse. I'll make my the moss farm as well, and making the floor look nice whilst talking through my processes. So, first of all, to make this look nice, I want to have quite a few layers down, and I want space so I can put all these farms under the ground so that the greenhouse on the inside can still look nice. So, let me get to digging. I have now dug out this area. It is 5 blocks after I put the floor in. So now I have enough room to put all the redstone in and all the farms under here, so I can get to building the fern farm. Now, this is everything you'll need, and then these are the blocks to place all the redstone on. I chose mossy cobblestone because after I maybe decorate this lower place, it will look a lot nicer with mossy cobblestone than something like stone or just the patches of different stones like diorite. So I think for the fern farm I'm going to put it over here. So first of all, you're going to need to create a line of hoppers, just like that. Have them all feeding into a double chest or a single chest, it doesn't matter. Just for the moment I'm going to be using a double chest. We're going to need about 3 blocks high because we need to put in mud over the top. Now the reason we're using mud is because you can place ferns all over mud, and if you drop an item on the mud, because it's not a full block, if I do this, you can see it's slightly lower in height, items can go through and into the hoppers. Now, the next thing we want to do is get our dispensers in place. Either side would work. I'm just going to go this side. So all of this needs to be covered. The back block doesn't, I'm just doing it so I won't have to light it up. Now we're going to need to leave 2 blocks, because the way it works is fern will be bone mealed and grow to a 2 tall fern. We can't just bone meal it and it'll just spread like other items, which means we're going to need to do this. And we can enclose all this now. So, next thing we're going to need to do is make the system to power the dispensers. Okay, so next up we want to be able to power these dispensers. So what we need to do is create a way to power them. So what we're going to need to do is put a lever there with redstone dust there, going into a repeater and going up a block to a redstone dust. Now you might be wondering why we use a repeater here. Well, it's to do with the clock that I will use. We need to put redstone dust right there with a comparator on subtract. That way the signal can be sent round, and we can extend this 4 blocks back from the comparator. And then we want repeaters going round and back in on a 1 tick delay. And redstone dust going back in to complete this circuit. Now here, you want another repeater on a 4-tick delay. That way the signal can go around and this is delayed. Now we want to send it around the corner, so I can just use a block there, so that way the signal strength here is only 15. We bring the signal down and put another repeater on a 2-tick delay, and all of this needs to be going into repeaters, so we link it all up. Now this is where it's going to be tricky, because we can't have all these dispensers going off at the same time. We want this one to go off first and going down to this one. So it's very simple. We have this one stay on a 1-tick, move this to 2, move that to 3, and move that to 4. Now that is the complete design for this fern farm, and it should work if I were to use it. However, what I want to do is I want all of these dispensers to fill up with bone meal from the top. So I'm going to remove this layer of mossy cobblestone and just stick it like that. Now, after this, what I can do is I can grab some rails. Now, I actually don't have any powered rails, but what we want to do is we want to put rails all over here and block that end bit off. Now, I know I have some some minecarts back in the base, so if I quickly go and grab them, here we go, and I might as well, whilst I'm here, make some power rails. So let's go back to the farm. Now this is going to be a bit of a problem, so what I want to do is I want to replace these 2 blocks with redstone blocks, because once I replace these, they'll power, and this way this wouldn't interfere that way. But it doesn't matter which side you do it. You can do it this side or this side, except you can't actually, you have to do it this side, because otherwise it would interact with that. And if I just put, in fact, if I just put a mossy cobble in each of these dispensers, any slot doesn't matter, and power the system, you saw how they changed. What I probably could do is move this actually, because if you noticed, this dispenser went before the other 3 did. So we want to move this, and this is why we test it before, because now the lever's not next to the dispenser, so it won't power this immediately. Now we make a hopper minecart, and that will just go back and forth, changing between the 2. What you could do is block this off, and extend it by another block. That way you always are getting it fully in. As you might have noticed, it does tend to bounce earlier, so you might have it uneven. So what we can do is use this and place just above a hopper there and a hopper there. In fact, what I might do is place the hopper like that. Because then all I'd have to do, place 2 more hoppers, and then chests on top as the input for the bone meal for the fern farm. And what I can do is I'll put signs next to it saying that that is the input. So I put bone meal next to a fern so you know which farm it is. And that is a complete fern farm done. And as you can see, we got all the junk in here. Now, one problem might be that this one fills up quicker. So I can test this if I just grab an empty shulker. Okay, I don't have an empty shulker. I'll just dump a chest there and stick these items in. We can test the system using some bone blocks. So because we have 4, we need 9 stack blocks for each dispenser. So we grab 4 stacks of bone blocks, and we can just, yeah, I can reach. We can just do this and put all of them in. Now you can probably just fill this all up and it won't make a difference. Now you're going to want unbreaking shears as well, which I have. Now I'm going to grab my ferns and we can test the system once it's fully loaded up. This would work for things like grass. This works for almost all of these items I have in my inventory. However, rose bushes and any double tool flowers aren't a necessary way to do it. You can see we're getting all pretty evenly spread out. You can see it's reasonably compact. And if I were to turn this on, do this, and just break. But you want to make sure you wait until all of them are done. Now, interestingly, that first one doesn't seem to go off for some reason. I wonder if I break that block. No. Make sure you don't do what I just did and end up breaking all your redstone. Now I'll probably fiddle around and see if I can get this first one to work, but as you can see, you just wait, you place all of the ferns, they grow, and you get all your items. This is a way, the timings are a way that you can ensure that you break all of them and place all of them, because in the past when I designed it, the 1 tick redstone clock was a bit too fast. So this is just a way to ensure this works. As you can see, we've all got just over 2 stacks. there in the chest. So if I switch it off, I might quickly play around with this. Maybe if I put it on a 3-tick delay, it would work. So if I do this, there we go. Okay, so interestingly, it went off when I first did the farm, but not afterwards. So I might switch this around again. But yeah, it doesn't... Ah. Is this... No, this wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, this is a working fern farm. You might want to play around as well, see if you can get this front one to work. I don't know why it's not working for me. But yeah, maybe you can move this back and have another set of repeaters going in. Now I've showed the fern farm, I can move on to the grass farm, which I'll put here. So I might need a bit more redstone, so I'll just grab this, but it will need a platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by making a... If I go here and I'm going to leave 2 blocks in between these. I can make this about this size, I'd say, and I'll make it 2 blocks thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line of redstone, just like that. Then put repeaters in these places. I'm going to get rid of those blocks because they're not needed. And then going into these repeaters in redstone, I'm going to put the pistons. After you put the pistons down, you're going to want to make a 5x5 grass platform. Now I'm going to need to extend this out that way because the next set of pistons needs to go right there. So I'll mine that bit out, but what I'm going to want to do is I am going to make a line of rails. With a powered rail in the middle, just to give you enough speed and momentum to keep you going. And then put another detector rail right there. Because I'm going to just try and fix a problem I had previously. What I want to do is almost identical to the other side. And I want to create the exact same pattern and line of redstone on this side and do that. But I'm going to want the repeater there. Now these blocks here are just to stop you when you're in your minecart, because what you're going to want to do is it'll power the pistons. You go there, power the pistons again, power the pistons. You fall down, powered rail sends you with enough power to go up, and you can go at your own pace. And shear the grass. Just having it like this. On my original design, I moved, this was actually one block that way, so this piston will be powered earlier. Let me quickly sleep. I'll leave I can leave that there. Now, the next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mine down a bit. Just lay on the redstone on top, like this. And I want to power all this and have that on 1 tick delay. On this side, however, I don't want to have a single bit of, I don't have a repeater. Then find the middle, which is about here, and just dispenser in the middle. So then I can create this line of redstone there. And a line of redstone there. Now the reason we increase the signal strength here, and I might actually change it here, because I don't believe that that is powerful enough. So I could just check this by placing that there. You can see the signal strength is not strong enough there. Now, interestingly, this now stops these two from being powered. So what I might do, I think I'm at where I had the moss farm. So what I might do is move this back by 1. That way we fix the problem. Just redo this and do the exact same on this side. But instead I will change this to a repeater. That way you can see it goes from a signal strength of 3 to 15 there because of the repeater increasing it. And now all you've got to do is grab some hoppers and put a chest for bone meal down there, and I can demonstrate this farm. So all of this should now be properly linked up. If I get into minecart, we can test it out. And there you go. You can see it, and just hold right click and share. Just look straight ahead and shear the grass, and you get quite a decent amount. Now you might want to change the minecart system. If you want, you can just use the normal grass farm design. I'm sure it's quicker, and yeah, you just get a ton of grass. Now every 5 minutes you have to get off and collect the grass, which is might be a bit of a problem, but you just leave it, get off, and do that. So you can see already, just that short amount of time, I got nearly 2 stacks, and you can get a bunch of different flowers as well, and seeds if you miss any grass. But now we have 2 different farms. Now I'm gonna have to change this, which probably be pretty simple, and yeah, you might lose a bit from underneath, but that's fine. Just gonna quickly put all that in there, grab that chest out. Now, because this is powered, what you might want to do after using the farm, just destroy the minecart, pistons will retract, and the dispenser won't be powered, meaning all the bone meal can just flow in. So this is very simple if you want to use it. All you probably need to do is just have a line of dispensers running up, and you can just place a double chest or a barrel if you want. The choice is up to you. And what I like to do is I like to put just back here a chest where I can keep minecart and maybe keep a pair of shears. I'll just cover this bit because eventually I'm going to need a way down to that part. So, as you can see, we've got the 2 spots. What I'm now going to want to need to do for the fern farm is link this to go up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these ferns out, and grab, instead of dispensers, I want droppers. So I'm going to have a dropper facing up right there, and have the hopper facing in. Now what you can do is you can just put a carpet there just so you don't like sink into the hopper potentially like this, although looking at this it won't matter too much. So what you want to do is make a line, droppers going into a chest or a barrel. I'm going to use a barrel this time. You'll have a barrel up there. Okay, I think I worked out. So behind me you can see this. Let me just double check it works. There we go. I was overcomplicating it for no reason. I just decided, what if I use observers instead? So you can see that none of the droppers have any items in after I just put some items in, because for some reason that I couldn't think of, probably because I didn't think it would work, but the state of this observer changes so it can be observed by other observers. The state of this observer changes so it can be checked by these observers, which detect the change, meaning the same happens to these ones, and they send the signal into the droppers and fill up the barrel at the top. As you can see, we have the 16 stone I put in. So I worked out, and it was much simpler than I thought it was. I was going based on what I worked out over in the barn. So yeah, I think now I just need to put in probably just bone meal farm, which I don't know where I'll put it. Maybe like here somewhere. Have that going up as well. And maybe a wheat, well, a crop farm as well. But I'll look at a tutorial for that. And yeah, that has been pretty good. So now we've done all this, I can clear this up. I think I want to start on a build. So in the last episode, the title was about viewpoints, so I think I'll talk about that now. If you have a view that looks really good, you want to keep going back and looking at that view, and then you'll be motivated to do more. So what I've thought about is, I saw a reference image of a view that I really like the look of, where you're probably standing right around here-ish, maybe. The image was flipped, so where that path is, there will be a tree, and up there will be a church. Now, in the reference image, this was just ruins, but I'm going to make a tree instead. A church instead. So, I had to do quite a bit of terraforming. Now, this was where the village was, and as you can see, I have torn everything down and even covered up the paths. So, obviously the floor will be different, but I can get started on this build. And I think this is a really nice viewpoint, so let's get into it. Now, I haven't done the inside like I have for most of my other builds, because I don't know what I'm going to do inside the church. I'll probably have it look like a church, but maybe underneath I don't know what I'll put. And I'm unsure about a couple things, like this window. The top bit is 4 blocks, the bottom one is just 1, and I think I might move it up. But yeah, I'm really happy with this build and the viewpoint, again with that window. Just happy with it. We got just more shading with blocks, just imagining the sun coming from that direction. We got the lighter colours there, and then the darker ones on here. Now maybe it would be different for here, but I also want to have a bit of a different thing, and then just free cam you can see difference, and then having the little tower there, the cross that's normally always on a church at the top. Yeah, I mean, like, no diorite on this side because wanted it to be darker. Now maybe the roof should be, but I think that's weather erosion instead. That's how I imagine it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, other than the window, I'd say this build is really nice. And then using the dead coral as well as the mossy cobble just to texture it up a bit. Maybe add a bit of overgrown look with the mossy cobblestone. But yeah, I mean, I really like the look of it. Then again, just want to use this tree about 3 times now. Well, 4 times I think. So there's 2 over there. I changed the trees at my base so they look a lot nicer, and you can see there's that tree, this tree again. You just use a schematic and bring it in, and then yeah, just the view is just amazing. And then if I just do this will probably be the thumbnail. It just looks amazing. I did a lot of terraforming here. Had to get all of this because a lot of this was sand. Like all of this bank was sand. A lot of this part as well. And now we just got this little bit. I would probably wrap some sand around here maybe. And also done the same over there. Because my plan for the future is I'll probably have a village down in this area, train station over there, going to all around the world. But yeah, really happy with this build, and it just adds another viewpoint from all my places. Like you walk out of the hangar for the airfield, you just get this I mean it's side of the church, but even then texturing of it is really nice, and from this distance it really looks like it perfectly fades in from a darker to a lighter tone. And again, if I walk out this way, you get a bit of the fog as well, just covering it up, which I really like. And then you can even see it just from outside my house, just a little bit, just in the distance, you could just see it. It had, I don't know how many, yeah, the build used 49 different types of blocks, which is a lot, and it's probably mainly stained glass, because I wanted to try my hand at making stained glass windows. But yeah, it just adds in another thing to that view, which quite lackluster, I would think. You see the hangar, and I did get a mod to see banners and signs from further away. But yeah, maybe wait, let me quickly go sleep first, and then I'll show you the stained glass windows. Stained glass window, just with both of these ones have crosses on. This one just a bit of blue, and then a red cross. Maybe the red could be like the blood of Jesus. I don't know. Just found reference images of ones with crosses. I couldn't, because of how small this build is. I couldn't get like people into it, which might have worked better on a larger build. So it's just very simple stained glass windows. This one I just thought, I saw ones with just random colours, and so I just used a dark green up to a cyan, and then, cyan, and then on the other side a blue, which I think works well. Just a bit random. Maybe it's like the bottom bit needs a bit cleaning maybe. And then yeah, this one I used brown stained glass for the cross, and then just yellow and orange, which maybe like light coming off of it, and then blues around, which I think it's all right. Especially this angle is probably the best for it. But yeah, I'm really happy with this build. Maybe you need to put in some of these in other places, maybe like there, maybe back here and on the back, because pretty flat build in places. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. And we got done quite a bit of progress. I just wanted to get a build done, because this episode is getting long enough as it is. I had planned, in fact, I had this ready for the next episode, and I had another build planned for this episode, but I'll show you what my intentions were. In fact, and I'll reveal this next project. It's a pretty big project, so if I go this way towards my iron farm over here, I cleared out a bunch of a large taiga biome, and I need to clear out that island over there as well, because that's where another train station will be. But yeah, I need to terraform all this and then build it, so this will be my industrial area in the future. Maybe I'll try working on this in the next episode, and I'll have a forest. I've already got a name for this place, Ridgewood Forest, but I still don't really have a name for my base over there. So if you can think of one, please leave it in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next one. Probably a bit of a longer video because of the redstone and figuring stuff out, which I don't know how to do because I am clueless at redstone. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.